Welcome back, everyone. So I'm getting ready to do some suspension overhaul on the 2007 Trailblazer SS. So I figured to give you guys a quick rundown of the parts, which they are mostly here. There is some stuff missing, but I guess I'll tell you guys what's missing as we go. So first off, starting with control arms from BFW is his company name. So he makes these lower control arms for the Trailblazer Super Sport. He makes a lot of other stuff too. Like I have his trans cross member for 4L80 swap, his motor mounts, and a bunch of other stuff. But for now, I'm installing his lower control arms. So he makes these control arms which delete the struts lower like bracket setup that they have, which I've never been a fan of. So they're mainly for the all-wheel drive guys, since it's used to clear the axle. Since two-wheel drives don't use them, which is mine, there's no need for them, and you know, I don't like the overall look of them. So I was super happy when he released his own control arms. So these are his control arms, which the coilover mount has down here, and then he makes the bracket for the top side, so it bolts up to your shock tower, and then you bolt on your coilover. His hardware that he sends for the bolts, which are they should be 1/2 inch, which is standard for coilover stuff. And he also sends TTX lower ball joints, which I've never ran personally. I've always been a Moog guy. Did some research, and there's supposedly it's on another good company that's comparable to Moog. I've had bad experience with Moog recently, so I'm hopefully give these a shot. I did order uppers from them too, and outer tie rods. So waiting for those. They should be here a little bit later in the week. But I'll have these. I have these now, so. That's what I'm showing you guys. Here's a part number for these guys, in case anybody is just wanting to do their own suspension overhaul. Hopefully they'll be good. The overall construction of them looks pretty good. I'll show you guys when I install them, I guess a little bit more. But the construction of them looks really good. The boot's nice and thick, so hopefully the uppers will be the same quality, and hopefully won't have many issues. And now we'll go over to the main guys. So this is a reason why I bought the lower control arms, because I wanted to do a nice coilover. So I ended up talking to trying to think of his name. His name was Clifford over at Viking, and he was able to spec out I guess between, you know, what I was telling him and what he, obviously his product line, he was able to recommend me to these coilovers. So these are obviously your Vikings, but these are the Beserker line. So as you can tell right there, so this is their street and performance coilover that they make. The main difference between these and like your Voyager is that you have the option to upgrade to a triple adjustable. So you have your compression and rebound, and then you have a center Allen bolt. I think it's an Allen or Torx, one of the two. But you have your center adjustment, which I had to look at the manual again, but if I remember correctly, it was like high speed compression. So hopefully you'll be able to get them dialed in a lot better, and make them, make the ride quality overall feel better. So we'll see how that goes. Super excited for that. And then here's a part number for these specific. So this is the shock portion of it. So these are, hopefully you should be able to read it. So there's a part number for that. And then there's for the spring, which is again specific to the Trailblazer weight. So these are 650s. And Oscar recommended that weight, so that's what we went with. Didn't really challenge that. And then another thing that I've been wanting to do for a while. So this is the rear Panhard bar. When you lower a Trailblazer, since they're 4-linked in the rear, it tends to kick over the rear end, actually to the right, to the passenger side. I ended up getting Spohn's Panhard bar, mainly because of their adjustments in the middle, so you can install it and then still adjust it, unlike Massive, I believe is the other one that I was looking at, which has their nut on the far left and the bracket gets in the way. So hopefully I'll be able to mount this up and then be able to adjust it. I think the only thing is they want you to mount the greasers up, so it would go, because this is driver's side, so it would go up like this. But so this should be a nice, just a nice upgrade, more or less, just centering the rear end. I don't think there's much performance upgrade from this. As of now, the front end is a little bit shaky. I've never been happy with it. So hopefully once I do these, I'll notice a big difference. I will try to record and get a good before, see show the suspension feedback as far as the steering wheel goes, because when you hit bumps, it like shakes a lot and it just makes the front end feel really loose and floaty. Hopefully I'll be able to get you guys some good feedback on everything. I figured this should make a world of difference for everything. And so yeah, so I'll tune in back. We'll probably a little drive before I take it apart, and then after that will be tear down and hopefully a review after. All right, so today's officially the last day of stock front style suspension. So I promised I would try to take a video, see if we can get like any feedback. I mean, there's some bumps coming up, so it's I mean, I guess we'll see. As far as the steering wheel is concerned, it does have a little vibration, especially when you're on the freeway. And I've had new tires put on it, and I've even rotated them and rebalanced, and it's still been there. So I'm gonna say it's in the suspension, so it's not gonna drive like a new car, but it's gonna have its, you know, bushings wore out and certain stuff like that. So I don't know if the camera can catch that, but the steering wheel right there has a little shake to it. I'm gonna kind of let go of it, and this is at 60 miles an hour. I mean, you can kind of see it down here, maybe. Here, gotta correct it a little bit. But just a little vibration. It happens usually at 60 miles an hour, or just, you know, just kind of shakes back and forth. It's not, I mean, it's just annoying more than anything, right? So, and when you hit holes, it seems like it's empty. Like, you just, I don't know if that's a good description or not, but I don't know, it just doesn't sound like a good solid setup. It just sounds like something's hollow. Hopefully this video kind of shows a little bit, at least a segment of it. That way I can kind of give you guys a good before and after, because realistically we do mods to, you know, have a better feeling thereafter. All right, so we're back. I got the Blazer up in the air partially with the race ramps. Gonna start first by taking off the upper strut bolts on both sides. So I kind of laid out the tools that I think I'll need. So just my socket, went and rented the ball joint separator, and then this is a ball joint presser. So we'll use those later. But I guess for now, we'll start up here. So we're back. So I guess what's happened, like I said, the caliper came off on both sides. So went ahead and undid that, and then also undid the speed sensor for both sides. So now the next step is to undo. I'm gonna take off the spindle, and then after I take off the spindle, probably do the upper control arm. And after I do the upper, and then I can go ahead and do the bottom. For tool size, by the way, 21 for, it seems like it does the lower control arms. Yeah, lower control arm, upper control arm, does the outer tie rod or the steering rack. And then this is gonna be pretty big. It might be a 1 inch. Yeah, so this is a 1 inch, the same as the lower ball joint, which is also a 1 inch. So a little blend of everything going on here. And then another thing that I was realizing that I guess I haven't showed, if you guys have never been under a Trailblazer. So again, the all-wheel drive system would come through here, and this is where your axle would go. So this is why these they have this bracket. I don't know the correct name for it, but this is a bracket that I was talking about that I don't like, because it just I don't know, I just feel like it's unnecessary for us two-wheel drive guys. So the coilover is going to go right in the middle of that, and it'll look just way cleaner, and having, you know, more suspension travel and more suspension and just movement and everything. I feel like it should be a good upgrade. But I've always hated this design, and not only that, but these things are so annoying to deal with. They've just never been a fun time. So I'm excited to get rid of this.
24 hours later.
Alright, so I got a quick update. So yesterday, well, it's a new day for one, and yesterday turned out being of a chore. So as you can tell, everything's disassembled on both sides. So the lower's out, the strut's out, everything's loose, or everything's off, minus the outer tie rod. But what I found out is, I guess it's a common issue on these Trailblazers. They have a nut that goes up here for the upper control arm, and they tend to break loose. I'm not exactly sure why or how, but they break loose. And what ends up happening is what I noticed is, so here's the nut. It's not welded at all. I don't know if the lighting helps. It's not welded at all. It's just a nut. It seems like it uses the same tightness to hold it in place. So they essentially just sit in here and they are supposed to hold themselves tight. But what I noticed is I ended up having this one break loose on me, so I couldn't loosen the bolt. So I had to weld the nut onto the frame in order for me to be able to break it loose. So this one's super dirty. I couldn't clean out the welds. I couldn't clean out the area that well. There's a bunch of road grime and oil in there. This side, I just went ahead and just welded it since I was here. This one wasn't loose. It was fine, but I was only able to get probably 1 or 2 good tacks on it, more than anything. So this side seems fine. So I figured as a preventative method, it's probably smarter just to weld them from the get-go. I'd like to probably come back and hit this one harder.
What do you mean by that?
Try to clean it a little bit better maybe, but realistically, I mean, it's not moving anymore, so that's good. And another thing is too, is once they come loose, it seems like they walk back and forth. So this could have been part of my steering wheel feel that I had. I'm not sure, but they definitely have play. Again, Trailblazer problems, but there's so much slop in this all the way around. And this one broke loose fine, so it was definitely walking back and forth, and everything was tight. Nothing was loose when it was coming apart. So I'm gonna weld this side today. So basically just clean up the metal and then get hopefully a good burn in. But yeah, so I'll talk to you guys, I guess, after these are welded. I'll show you guys what I did. Well, ain't the prettiest, but definitely is not going anywhere. I was able to get this one a lot cleaner. I'll let you guys right side up, because this one obviously I was able to take it out. So that one's good. Actually, the middle one did not even weld onto the frame, but the bottom one and top one did, so should be good there. And that's Trailblazer problems, I guess. So that's all done. Before reassembly, I do want to clean this all up and then make it look a little bit better while I'm here. So I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. So here's a wheel well all cleaned up and detailed. Just washed it all down and then used actually a wire brush to kind of clean up just like a first layer of paint, if you will, just to make it look kind of fresh. So got this all done. I do also want to paint the upper control arms black, so that's kind of probably, that is the next step. So I mean, they're all dirty, a little dirty and gunky, so I'm just gonna wire wheel them and then just paint them with the aerosol can. Here's the other side. I mean, again, nothing crazy, just wiped it down. And then for the wheel wells, I used Cerakote's plastic. They have like a trim restorer, and that's what I use on these. So I've always been curious to use it on the wheel wells. I've had great results everywhere else, so we'll see how they hold up. But anywho, so I figured I'd give you guys a quick little update on what's going on. It probably won't, I mean, video anything until tomorrow, because again, I'm just debating on either going locally and hunting the bushings or just waiting. Hopefully a FedEx updates the shipping, and if I have everything ready and I'm 120% ready to go and comes Monday and I can't, you know, nothing's from FedEx, I'll just go locally hunting for them. So we'll see what happens.